market is open. The market has opened. And the market has opened. And we are seeing some reactions already. All right. Okay, let's start with DXY. Let's start with DXY, weekly time frame. Okay, so from this, you would see that we have this low. This low that was taken out. That's a liquidity grab. Then we'll also have this swing high here. So we also have this internal market structure shift here, because we had an internal low that was taken out before we had this external low that was taken out here. So we have double structure shifts, internal and external. So this market is just doing a retracement. So this zone, we are going to be looking to see how DXY is going to react from here. But if you are to follow normal market structure, we have this low to this high, then we are supposed to have this low, then this high. That's what we are supposed to have in this structure. So this zone is where we'll look out for the coming week to see how they are going to react, whether they are going to sell or they are going to respect this structure that they have given here. First had liquidity, then we had a strong push to the upside, taking out this high, taking out this high. So that's buying intentions. That's buying intentions. So coming week, I'll be looking to see how the market is going to react in this zone, to see if we are going to get another distribution, because we already have, if you are looking at power of 3, we have accumulation here. This is the accumulation. Then we now have this liquidity sweep here, and then this breakout structure. We have this market structure shift, and then we'll be having either this low or down to this point to give us a distribution of price. So that's what we'll be looking at. All right. So for DXY, that's just what we wanted to know. Then for gold, see that as we started having DXY move to the top side, gold started selling off. All right. So now I'm anticipating that gold will have some level of pullback. You see, we have this. We have this. So I want to see something like this before we now keep going down on gold. Because if you look at from the daily time frame, you see that we are having series of, this is a high, this is a low, this is a lower high, and this is a lower low. So we need to have another lower high somewhere around here. So I'm seeing an order block. I'm seeing an order block that the market could tap into. This daily. Let me use this. So I'm seeing an order block zone that the market could possibly tap into before we start seeing sales. But nevertheless, this fair value gap is also just right above price. this fair value gap here is just right above price. So we may likely have price tap into this zone, gets respected. So maybe we'll have on the lower time frame, we'll have something like this, 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 then start going down. Start going down. So we could have something like this inside this zone. Now you should know that fair value gap and other blocks on higher time frame have stronger they have stronger possibilities of the market respecting the zone. So you just see them as zones where you are anticipating that the market is going to do what? To going to, give some reactions, and then the traders, people who are the buyers and the sellers, will now decide whether the market should go up or it should continue going down. All right. So I'm anticipating that gold will buy a little bit into 4866.98 level. All right. 4866.5. Okay. 4866.96 level. That's zone. That's where I'll be anticipating that the market will do what? The market will buy into before we now decide whether we are going to go down to continue the trend. Because the trend from the daily time frame, is giving what? Is giving bearish. So if you look at this, that's a high, this is a low, this is a what? A lower high, and then another lower low, right? Another lower low. So I'm anticipating that the market will give what? I'm anticipating that the market will give another lower high here. We tap into this area, and then we do what? We continue the bearish sentiment. So, but here for gold right now, this is my target. This is my draw on liquidity. So my bias now for gold is actually bullish, right? My bias for gold is bullish. We can look at H4 to see if we can see something. So we had this low. From this low, we had this high. From that high, we had this low. From this low, had this high. So you just mark the previous high that you have seen. You mark it as your market structure shifts. And then the next one will be your break of structure. So break of structure is usually used to indicate continuation in the market, while your market structure shift, MSS, is used to identify reversals. All right? Is used to identify the beginning of a trend. That's what your market structure shift does. Okay? So now you could see that we have other blocks that are being respected. Other blocks that are being respected. These are levels that are being respected. Okay? So we have one here that the market have not mitigated. So the market will drop. I'm anticipating that the market does what? The market drops into this and then goes into this. This is what I'm anticipating. And once market comes to this zone, you understand? You do what? You trade. You need to understand that if you start learning how to wait for your zones to be mitigated before you enter any particular trade, that is when you become successful in trading. If you allow your zones to be mitigated, if you allow your zones to be what? To be tapped into, that is when you start seeing a bit of progress in trading. Patience. Well, I'm not here to talk about psychology. We are just here to talk about technical analysis. All right. So this is what I'm anticipating for. This is what I'm anticipating for gold. If you have pairs that you want me to talk about, you can type it on the chat box. I will reply to you. Then for silver, let's look at silver. So the same thing for silver. The same thing for silver. We had volatility 25. Okay, cool. We are going to do that. We had this high. And then we have this low. And then we have this high. And then we have this low. So I'm anticipating somewhere here to have another high that will now give us the continuation of the lows. So right now we see that on the weekly time frame, the market is what? The market is bearish. And what we are actually trading is just the retracement of the overall trend. All right, the retracement of the overall trend. So if you go to the daily time frame, you still see the same thing. You still see the same thing. We had a high, then we had a low, then we have swing high, swing low. Around here is what I'll be willing to anticipate. Here I'll be willing to anticipate that swing high before I do what? Before now determine whether we are going to continue lower or not. So normally we are supposed to anticipate this level to be respected, or they could possibly use this as liquidity, because we have here, we have it inside the fair value gap, and then we have this extreme order block zone. So possibility that silver would tap into this before we start seeing the downside. But anyhow, we are to react, not to just respond and throw tantrums. We are supposed to just calm down, allow the market to come to us before we do what? Before we activate our entries. So right now, you see that we have this level. I will also have this level. So these are zones that would pick your interest. Refining that daily candle, you see that we have this. You see that we have this. So these zones are places where you could possibly look for reversals from. You get? Because the market could come into here, do the same thing with gold, and just start falling. Okay? So these are things that you put into consideration. All right. Moving on. We have Bitcoin. So right now, Bitcoin is selling. I was anticipating that the market is going to sell from this zone I was anticipating that the market will sell from this level, and it's actually doing that already. Now, if you go to H4 time frame, you see that we'll have this low being taken out. We'll have that low taken out. Also have this high taken out. So this is a proper shift of structure, leaving a fair value gap behind. All right. So leaving a fair value gap behind, we actually have this low and this low that was broken. Now, whenever you have double break of structure, something like this. So whenever you have something like this, the market goes from a low to a high, low to a high. We are having our break of structure, right? We're having a break of structure here. But then the market gets to a particular key level on a higher time frame. And what does it do? It just dropped. So now dropping, it has to take out the first swing point, which is a low, then also the second one. So now, once you have that sharp move, and we'll have 1, 2, that is what? Broken. We'll always use the nearest POI to price. Now, the price can also do something like this. Now, coming back to this zone, you will use this as your breaker block, right? You use it as your breaker block to do what? To continue downwards. Okay? So now, tendency that the market will want to use this other block as liquidity to do what? To come into where the big players are, to start selling from there. To start selling from there. Okay? So, but just have it in mind that Bitcoin is bearish, at least to this other block here. You know, have something like this, and then so that is that for Bitcoin. GBP JPY, right now I'm neutral on GBP JPY because GBP JPY have been buying throughout last week. GBP USD, the same thing. Let me see the weekly time frame. All right. You see from the weekly time frame, we have this low. From that low, we have this high, this low, this high. All right. So having that, we have also this low. So this means that this guy is actually bearish on the weekly time frame. GBP USD is bearish. Why? Because we have a change in market structure currently at this point in time. All right? So we have a market structure shift and there. So we are now anticipating that GBP USD is going to do what? It's going to sell off. All right? Hence the fact that if you look at your dollar structure, you see that there is intentions for what? For buyers on dollar. There is intention for buyers on dollar. So when people are moving away their money from other assets and putting it into dollar, other assets are going to suffer. All right? Other asset class are going to suffer. So let's go to the daily time frame. So you see that we have a structure shift here on the daily time frame. We have a structure shift here on the daily time frame. Hope you guys can see my screen. Please let me know if you are still with me. You are still with me?
Yes, you can see.
Okay, cool. So you see that we have a structure shift. So the bias is actually what? Bearish on GBP USD. The bias is bearish on GBP USD. So how do I arrive to that bias? If you look at the daily time frame, we already mentioned that we have a shift in market structure. Now, this shift in market structure indicates intentions. It indicates intentions of people who are either buying or people who are either selling. All right. So now you see that the intentions have been declared. And what is the intention? It means that we are anticipating what? Sales. We are anticipating sales and all that. These levels are very important levels. Very important levels. These zones now are places where the market should come and react from. All right. These zones are places where the market should just come and react from. Now, even here, even this zone, because this is a breaker block, the market could possibly come into this zone, react from it, and continue buying. All right. And continue buying, after which we now get our sell structure to continue to align with the weekly sell structure to start selling. Okay. USD JPY is bullish. You can see here is the last high that was taken out, and then the low is a protected low, right? And then these two right here, you can call them trend line liquidity, or you just call them inducement. All right. So we are anticipating that this market will do what? Will come to take out this high, this external liquidity high here. We are anticipating that the market will come to take it out. All right, Euro USD. Now you see how, I don't know if you can notice how we are having, this is a high and this is a higher high. But on GU, we are having a high and what's a higher low. We are having a high and then a higher low. Rather, in GBP USD, we are having what? A high and a higher low. This is called SMT, Smart Money Technique. All right. So that will be it for tonight. Let's do VIX, Volatility Index. All right, VIX 25. This guy is on steroids. VIX 25 is actually bullish. Now you'd see and believe that these zones are being respected. These zones are being respected. This one too. And this one. Then this one. So now, until we have the market do what? Take out this last order block. This last order block right here. That would be a change in market structure. Right? That would be a change in market structure. Let's look at H4. So the H4 has been trending upwards. H4 has been trending upwards. So you can see that we tapped into this other block here, and we seem to be doing what? Going to the upside. Now, going to the upside, this is where I'll be looking to take my TP from, if eventually I should be taking this trade. Let me see on each one. If we can get anything. Okay. We have these two levels. This one, and also this one here. All right. So we are actually looking for volatility to step into this zone or this zone to do what? To continue buying. To continue buying. All right. Thank you very much for attending this class. Do you have any other one that you want me to analyze? Mr. Collins, I hope you got clarity from the analysis of 25. You can type on the chat box. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll keep updated. We'll keep everyone updated on these pairs that we analyzed tonight. We'll keep everyone updated and to see how the market is reacting from all the analysis that we took and all that. So thank you for joining. For those people who are going to be listening to this, make sure you join the community. It is very important. There is nothing as beautiful as having a community that is backing you up and holding you accountable to actually achieve your goals. All right. Thank you very much.